baby, how was school today?
Mom, these kids at school kept making fun of me and they kept calling my hair nappy. Why, Mom?
Tootie, look, just read this book and it'll tell you everything you need to know.
There's another N-word we throw around in and out of the black community called nappy. We have taken that word like the other N-word, nigger, and made it a word of adornment. I have heard the word nappy my entire life, which was used to insult, degrade, and hurt someone. This word is a derogatory term that was used in our ancestors to insult people.
Available now.
I love myself.
Same tree, different brand.
I hope you love yourself, because love is only love when you love somebody else.
What hair looks like after slavery. Transatlantic slave trade. The transatlantic slave trade by the European changes everything for Central and West Africans. Let's briefly talk about the transatlantic slave trade. The Portuguese and later the English, the French, and the Dutch got involved in enslaving Africans in large parts of West Africa, the Gulf Coast of Guyana, and the Congo River Basin, were significant areas of human exports to the Americas, mostly to sugar plantations in the Caribbean. By the late 17th century, the so-called triangle trade developed. European ships loaded with guns, textiles, tobacco, and manufacturing goods sailed to Africa slave ports and traded those goods for captives. European slave traders then took those Africans to the New World where they were sold. With that money, the European purchased staples such as sugar, tobacco, rum, and coffee, then sold for enormous profits back in Europe. The profits was often reinvested in other goods to be traded for captives back in Africa and so on. If you want more in-depth information on the transatlantic slave trade, I recommend you read Hugh Thomas' book titled The Slave Trade, the story of the Atlantic slave trade 1440 through 1870. This is a thick book, roughly 912 pages, and worth sacrificing some of your time to read. The book is almost the same price as a supersized combo from a fast food restaurant, destroying the image of African hair. Europeans who had traded and communicated with Africans knew the complexity and the significance of black hair. They were often struck by the various hairstyles that they saw within each community. In an effort to dehumanize and break the African spirit, Europeans shaved the heads of enslaved Africans upon arrivals to the Americas. This was not merely a random act, but a symbolic removal of African culture. The shaving of the hair represents the removal of any trace of African identity and further acts to dehumanize.
Man, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Sean P in the place to be. Please like the show, share the show, tell a friend, we live. I just wanted to kind of go live and give a little information out, because that's what I do, right? We teach over here on the Massa Warrior Clan YouTube channel. We don't come live and start a stream and kick back and start talking mumbo jumbo. We actually go live and we educate. And we make sure that our audience has information that they can take with them and share with others or like-minded individuals who may be interested. So what's up? But I need everybody to like the show, share the show, man, before we get started. And we're gonna get into it. So again, peace to everybody in the chat. Peace to everybody that has not commented. Peace to everybody that will catch or is watching the replay. So we're here because of Texas. And the rich African American presence in Texas, as they say today. Trying to let some more people get in before we get started. That's why I'm delaying a little bit. All right, so I guess we'll educate everybody else later. But for those of you who are in the chat right now, who remembers what Top Cat said yesterday? Okay, Brother Lavelle already answered. He said Texas Cherokee. What else did he say? What were some other things that he claimed? He said his granny was on a reservation, that his people already been here. Then we took him up out of already being in Texas to his family came from Alabama. You got to remember that. He said his family migrated. Some of his family migrated from Alabama, right? These folk ain't always been in Texas, and I'm going to show you why. Yeah, and this is the funny part. He claimed he lied about his granny. So what are we to believe? What are we to actually get out of this guy? If he'll go on a show and bold-faced lie like that about his granny, right? Saying that she was so-called African, and then retracting that and saying that he lied, that she's not that. What kind of integrity does he have as a human being? He said West African tribes are fake. Yeah, he admitted that he grew up in the hood. What's wrong with growing up in the hood, he said. Tony said he said his people been in Texas forever, but they came from Alabama. Yeah, we're going to get into some of that stuff. Right. Boom. Tuscaloosa Indian, Alabama Indian. Right. Now, for people who are unfamiliar with what I'm doing right now, this is, and for the people in the chat that are actually entertaining and they're replying to me, they're familiar with what I'm doing right now. I am actually testing people to acknowledge what claims were made by a person, right? When we deal with these YouTube shows, we use these shows as an opportunity to educate us, but also further advance our critical thinking and our ability to recognize one's claims. The truth of the matter is simply this. A person get on a panel and talk to you for 3, 4, 5 hours, maybe 8 hours. I don't know how long ever the streams go on their side, but they can get on a panel and they can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. But if you don't have the capacity and the capabilities of being able to recognize their claims, you will just fall into the trap of believing everything that they say. So on the Science with Sean channel, we went through a whole book about critical thinking and analyzing claims, exercises in analyzing claims, and dealing with those things, and to help us be able to not only comprehend right? With our reading comprehension, what we're reading, and then what the author is claiming, and does the author have the evidence for which they're claiming, and so on and so forth. So we go through that so we're prepared to deal with ignorance. Y'all think that this is just all about the entertainment factor. Now I cuss people out and I'm disrespectful too and yada yada yada. Because I know some of y'all like that. At the same time, when it comes to that community, those that are claiming the identity of other people and then frowning upon African history, African culture, African existence, my patience is very thin. Very thin. And I'm not going to spare anyone when they become stupid and they're trying to belittle. And that's just a fact of life. Yeah, YouTube got some new features. Well, it's been on my iPad, but if you're on your cell phone, you can now respond by using the emojis during the stream. Now on StreamYard, I can't see the emojis. But I can see them from my phone if someone does it, and I can see someone just put some hearts and 100s up. So I can see those from my phone, but not nothing else. So what we're going to do today is we're going to deal with just some little things about Texas. Some of you should know who the first person who entered Texas, the first African to touch Texas. All of y'all should know who that is, right? Okay. That fool said DJ Screw. He was the first one to screw some. That's for sure. I do agree with that. Let me get Suits comment off the screen. Now y'all can see it wholeheartedly. So this is from the University of Texas, San Antonio, or UTSA, wherever the hell they at. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Spanish conquistadors, old dog says. They call them Taínos. But anyway, so the lives of people in Texas have changed dramatically from the 16th century to today. And the story of Texas cannot be told without appreciation of the role African Americans have played over the last 500 years. They didn't say abos. They didn't say indigenous. They didn't say none of that shit. They said African Americans. When the Spanish began colonizing the American continent, they brought their cultural and political institutions, including slavery. In 1529, a man named Estevanico, what they call him, they say his name translates into Little Stephen, became the first African to come to Texas. Y'all remember him now? He was what they called a Moroccan and had been sold into slavery to a Spanish explorer. Arriving in the New World, Little Stephen, that's what I'm gonna call him, and the rest of his party, including Cabeza de Vaca, were shipwrecked near Galveston Island, captured by a group of Cohilcan American Indians. So I want to stop real quick. Well, first let me read the paragraph. Escaped and trekked across what is now Texas and northern Mexico. He was later killed while traveling to New Mexico. So I wanna show y'all who these people are. Now hold up. So let me make another point real quick. Y'all remember when I said that the people that been in the Americas, that we know what the culture was like because it was a cohesive culture. It was like homogeneous, right? These people were spread out. And if they ran into someone that was unfamiliar with their territory and may have been of different descent or different tribe or different culture, that war would be had about these people. Y'all remember when I said that? Soon as they run across a stranger, that boy was killed. So let me show y'all who some of these people are. Now I'm gonna go to an article, but just look at the drawings and some of these people. Since they said instead of going to Google, use Pinterest. Pinterest will help you out. Okay. How much is Pinterest helping y'all out right here? They don't look like none of the people that we argue with on YouTube. It's just a fact. That's if you're just doing lookership. But we can go further in that. We can get into their biological makeup. But these images here, I want to show you, since people act like kids and they're afraid of reading and they're into pictoglyphs, I just wanted to show you who these people were who cut little Steven's throat when he crossed into New Mexico. All right. Now to the article that I want to pull up. You should be able to see this. So these Indians come from the lowlands of northeastern Mexico and adjacent southern Texas, were originally occupied by hundreds of small, autonomous, distinctively named Indian groups that lived by hunting and gathering. During the Spanish colonial period, the majority of these natives were displaced from their traditional territories by Spaniards advancing from the south and Apaches retreating from the north. The Spaniards had little interest in describing the natives. Hold on. That should be a little better. Describing the natives or classifying them into ethnic units. There was no obvious basis for classification, and major cultural contrasts in tribal organizations went unnoticed, as the similarities and differences in the native languages and dialects. Spaniards referred to an Indian group as nación and described them according to association with the major terrain features of Spanish jurisdictional units. Only in the Nuevo León did observers link Indian populations by cultural peculiarities, such as their hairstyle and body decorations. Thus, modern scholars have found it difficult to identify these hunting and gathering groups by language and culture, because that shit look the same. So let's catch the cap right here. And I know you listening, bro. I know you listening. You know what I'm saying? You fascinated with me. You fascinated with me. So now I'm going to show you my skills. Over the following centuries, while many other Africans were brought to New Spain as enslaved people, over the following centuries, while many other Africans were brought to New Spain as enslaved people, Many free blacks came to Spanish Texas as soldiers, settlers, and craftsmen. These African Tainos spoke Spanish, were mostly Catholic, and had many of the same rights as Hispanic colonists. In the Spanish borderlines, the characteristics and politics of race and ethnicity were complicated. By the end of the 1700s, African Spaniards occupied positions in every sector of colonial economic and political life across Texas. So here's a sculpture. Don Pedro Huzar. Huzar was a master sculptor, surveyor, architect, framer, and judge in San Antonio. Holding the Spanish title Don, meaning sir and honorable, he was influential in the San Antonio Mexican community, but is best known for sculpting the exquisite rose window at the Missionary San Jose Church, which is to your right. When Mexico won independence from Spain in 1821, the new government made slavery illegal, but allowed Anglo settlers from the United States to bring slaves into Texas as indentured servants. Then, during the Texas Revolution from Mexico in the 1830s, people of African descent joined both sides. Those who spoke Spanish and shared Hispanic culture usually favored the Mexican government. Those who had come from the United States and spoke English usually favored the Texian revolt. However, the newly established Government of Republic of Texas quickly passed laws to expand slavery based on racist views of Anglo politicians. They curtailed the rights of free African Texans, and Texas became slaveholding territory for the next quarter century. Think about what was just said right there and what you see on the screen. He did say John Hope. Yeah, he did. He did. You're right. We forgot about that one. John Hope Franklin was his ancestors, what he said. So I want y'all to think about that. They identified these people as Africans. They identified these people specifically because of what they knew. It's just a fact of all facts. So let me stop right there. No. Let me go on a little bit. Remember earlier I told y'all about that migration from Alabama into Texas? Let me show you something real quick. What y'all think this is? What y'all think this is right here? This blue arrow in this image right here. Let me zoom in. There you go. Listen to what it says right here. Many slaves in Texas and surrounding Confederate states attempted to escape slavery into Mexico via the Southern Underground Railroad. Let me pull this up for y'all. The Southern Underground Railroad. Share my screen. Pull the source up. You should be able to see it. Let me show y'all something. The Underground Railroad ran south as well as north. For enslaved people in Texas, refuge in Canada must have seemed impossible far away. Fortunately, slavery was also illegal in Mexico. Researchers estimate, let me take my glasses off, estimate 5,000 to 10,000 people escaped from bondage into Mexico. Who was writing her dissertation about the topic at the University of Texas at Austin, but she thinks the actual number could even be higher. These were clandestine routes, and if you got caught, you would be killed and lynched. So most people didn't leave a lot of records. There's some evidence that Tainos or Mexicans in Texas acted as conductors on the southern route by helping people get to Mexico. In addition, Hammock also identified black women and 2 white men who helped enslaved workers escape and tried to find a home for them in Mexico. Think about that. Southern Underground Railroad. All right, you can look that up. You can go behind me. You can do whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. Now, one of the stops along the way where former slaves could get food and shelter was the ranch of Nathaniel Jackson and Matilda Hicks in far South Texas near McAllen. These former slaves from listen now. This is why I'm showing y'all this. It says what? Clear your phones. Make sure you see this shit real bright and clear. Clear your phones. Make sure you see this shit bright and clear. In far South Texas near McAllen, these former slaves from Alabama, these former slaves from Alabama. Let this resonate one more time. These former slaves from Alabama. Where Top Cat say his people from? Where he say his people from? Anyone remember what he said his people from? Excuse me? Huh? Anybody recall what Top Cat said that his people from? Please tell me. Did someone in the chat? Thank you. These former slaves. He ain't no Indian. His people was former slaves. His people was former slaves. A lot. Listen. Not all the people in Texas were slaves, okay? But the people that migrated into Texas from places like Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana were running away because there was a Southern Underground Railroad that went through Texas. See, we ain't got to play no games. I wanted to get to this real quick just to let y'all know, to see it for yourself. History is not going to lie. So when one tells us a story, they had to have evidence to falsify this. His people from Alabama. He said that. And now you know that there was a Southern Underground Railroad which would substantiate the migration from Alabama into Texas because they're running away. And he ends up in Texas. His ancestors end up in Texas. They were former slaves. She said it's oral history told on them. So I'm just I'm gonna lay that on y'all. Now, anything that I'm showing today, of course, y'all know where to go get it at because I have it. It is available and it is all y'all's. You ain't even gotta sweat it. It's there. I have it. It's all y'all's. So let's go a little bit further. We just having a little fun right now. We just having a little fun. So, people of African descent have been inextricably linked to the history in the land now known as Texas since the earliest days of colonization. African American Texans have created culture and community despite being subjected to racism, oppression in the form of enslavement, segregation, and violence, and have improved the state of Texas with valuable cultural and historical contributions. Once again, they talk about African people under Spanish rule with the arrival in 1528. People of African descent, enslaved and free, were instrumental in the settlement of Spanish Texas. You don't have to read this, we did already, excuse me. And then you have the Mexican independence and Texas Revolution, which what Chavis was talking about in the chat. And we can get familiar with that real quick because it was a number of enslaved African Americans who arrived at Stephen F. Austin and helped Anglo settlers in 1824. Yeah. By the end of 1825, they found 443 slaves in the colony, almost a quarter of its population. So right here. All right. All of this information is available to y'all. First, listen, Jacob Fontaine, born in Arkansas in 1808, but he got the first colored Baptist church in Austin. That's history for your ass. African American from Arkansas. Of course, there is slave narratives from people in Texas, and this is Molly Dawson, who was enslaved in Navarro County, Texas. The slaves was about the same things as mules or cattle. They was brought and sold. They wasn't supposed to be treated like people anyway. We all knew that we was only a race of people as our master was, and that we had a certain amount of rights, but we was just property and had to be loyal to our masters. It hurt us sometimes to be treated the way some of us was treated, but we couldn't help ourselves and had to do the best we could, which nearly all of us done. So we can run it back. Y'all should know who this lady is right here. Reconstruction, or in the words of root words, this is where they reconstructed history. Root words. I know you listening, but these are slaves right here, my brother, picking cotton. Picking cotton, my brother. But I don't want to go too far into Texas. I'm not trying to make it all about that, but I just wanted to deal with some small things to show you how people get away with making up shit on these streams and they go unchecked. One more source, then I want to open it up. Well, I ain't gonna go into this because this is just basically saying some of the stuff we already talked about, just doubling down into support. But all the sources is in the description of the video, so you guys can go and grab that information and take a look at it and enjoy that stuff. So that's a little light work. So that was Top Catz making up shit. And I wanted to show y'all that migration from Alabama was exactly what I said. They were enslaved. They were of African descent, and they were migrating to Texas as runaways, potentially as runaways, but their migration was straight up to Texas. and he's denying his Africanness. Shaw, you late, Shaw. They had a Southern Underground Railroad, bro. That ran through Texas. So people could come from Arkansas, Louisiana for sure, Mississippi for sure, Alabama for sure, and I think even as much as Georgia, because many of them people wasn't running north to get to Canada for freedom. That's way too far. So I just got here. You can tell. So what's on y'all mind? I'm saving some stuff. Y'all can tell I got something that I'm trying to save. I am. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. I am saving some stuff because I want to see how far they want to go with this shit. And depending on how far they want to go, then I'm gonna bring out what I need to bring out slowly but surely. They're losing the battle using history. They're losing the battle if they go to anthropology. They're losing the battle if they go to archaeology. There is not a field of science. There's not a field of science that agrees with Top Catz being an Indian, Aboriginal power them being Aboriginal or indigenous to America. Period. There's no science that supports their position. Period. I'm gonna just say that. Mm-hmm. He said they were fake, and then he said they was slave raiders. I'm trying to leave Africa out of this right now. I'm trying to leave Africa out of it right now. But he be saying stuff that make you want to go ahead and debunk him immediately. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Exhibit A. The Fula Americans. Who are the Fula? The Fulani Americans or the Fulbe Americans are Americans of Fulani Fulbe descent. The first Fulani people who were forcibly expatriated to the United States from the slave trade came from several parts of West and Central Africa. So you have Fulani in West and you have Fulani in Central Africa. Many Fulbe came of places from Guinea, Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, and Cameroon. So most of the people who came from Senegal belong to the ethnic groups Mandinka or Mandinka. And what else? Fulani. Recent Fulani arrivals immigrated to the United States during the 1990s and now make up a significant portion of the Muslim communities across America. That's different. So he can't even beat Wiki. He's out of there. He's out of there, Wiki. And here's some notable people. That ain't it. I did not want to bring Africa into this because I wanted him to fight a head-up battle with his ignorance. Don't look at me. He said it. He said it. I dropped the link in the chat, man. Anybody can join. Just on top of my y'all. The Hausa, the Fulani. Yoruba. Y'all hear me typing. There's a reason. You can go to Angola. Listen. They talking about an article published in the Smithsonian. It's talking about new research reveals the transatlantic slave trade's genetic legacy. They had 50,000 volunteers lined up for this shit. Tells a story. He gonna say it's the white man science. Why you gotta trust the white man? The white man gonna make up this, that, and the third. The white man didn't care about incriminating himself because it's the white man laws. What up, Keenan? I told you Catz only came over here because I told him he was scared of you. I got on their panel the other day. On punishment for last night, wife got mad. Yeah, your wife should have got mad at you, old dog. You was tripping, bro, and you was laying next to your wife saying all this shit. She's like, damn, shut up, Nick. Yep. Catz told me I'm scared, brought me up. And the moment I started going in on his nonsense, he puts in the back. So let me show y'all something, right? I need to leave that comment up. Let me pull up YouTube real quick. I want to show y'all something because I don't want people to think I'm crazy or that I'm tripping, right? Somebody told me this was what I did or whatever happened yesterday was a bad look. Now, mind you, I don't even give two shits about this guy, but he said it was a bad look. All right. So I'm going to the comments. Y'all know who this dude is. He wants to be an Aboriginal. He said, Sean P, bad look, bro. What was a bad look about this exchange with me and Catz? What was a bad look? because they do it to us all the time. Notice the comment that I have up. Let me stop sharing. I got OHF comment up for a reason. Because they do that to us. They mute us. They put us in the back. They bring us back, then put us in the back again. They mute us, talk over us, change the topic, move the argument. They do all of that, Patrick. But I didn't move the argument or do anything. I put him in the back when he was talking too much and didn't want to listen. I muted his mic one time, though. I think once or twice. Because he wouldn't shut the fuck up. And I was trying to simply get him to shut the fuck up. What is the Carol Soup civilization? I don't know. Shy, look it up. I don't know. I'm unfamiliar. I'm unfamiliar with the Carol Soup civilization. Oh, they're putting these people in Peru. Whatever you're referring to, when I just hit the search, takes you to Peru. So what is the importance of this, Shy? Huh? Pre-Columbian area society that included as many as 30 major population centers in the Carol region of north-central coastal Peru. The civilization flourished between the 4th and 2nd millennia BC. What is the significance of this, Shy? Because these people, it says complex societies in Cape Sarula arose a millennia after Sumer and Mesopotamia were contemporary. All right, so that ain't saying nothing. What's up? 900 BC, Shy. What about these people? I guarantee you they ain't got nothing to do with none of the Abos. If that's what they were insinuating. I seen somebody mention it as the oldest civilization here in AP chat. Yeah, but that has nothing, just because it's the oldest civilization here, it has nothing to do with them. Do you see what I'm saying? Because once again, if you go in and you start looking at those people and the history of those people, it's going to take you back to the Amerindian periods. Or what we want to call them is descendants of the earliest natives. Now they can distinguish culturally who they were. They can say that, but it's not gonna give the black Abos nothing to stand on, because they ain't none of them. I keep telling y'all, man, them people is looking for stuff that ain't got nothing to do with them. I seen that. Oh, okay. Bruh, I'm light skinned and I've been outside playing football. And I know why I'm light skinned. Cause my granddad is on both sides are blacker than a mug. My grannies are both fair skinned. Their mothers are both fair skinned, light skinned women, red bones. How we get the red bone? That 23% ancestry, Euro ancestry. That fool said banana. Fool, this banana. Oh, y'all can't see that. There you go. Yeah, it's red bones. There's all kind of bones in Africa. Africa is hella diverse. No, that's not what I'm referring to. I'm telling you how I got light skin. I'm not necessarily telling you how, you know what I'm saying? I'm not insinuating that. I'm just telling you how I'm light skinned. I know how I'm light skinned. Cause boy, you see how black, you should see how freaking black my great granddad. My great granddad was the color of my shirt. He looks also African. His father, also African. Black as hell. Both sides. Yeah, a lot of them are OHF. I would say something about this comment right here. I ain't gonna say it on here. And there's some Igbo and the video that are black as hell too. I ain't gonna say what I want to say. Yeah. I'm 75% African. I'm dark where I need to be dark. Pause. I dropped the link. Anybody want to join, man? Not a coincidence you out there. Where you at? I know you listening. Hey, that boy said that he was atheist to DNA. Atheist to DNA. What the fuck does that mean? Oh, I know you trolling. They be bleaching themselves. Yep, they do. Nah, I ain't saying it. I don't want to give nobody the freedom to feel froggy and say it somewhere else on their own terms. This dude said he about to revamp the Aboriginal community. They need him. I don't care nothing about that. I ain't mistreating nobody. It sounds personal. Come on, man. Hit the link, bro. Nah, that's not it. You making up stuff. Yeah, he fishing. You just casting rods out there. You don't even know what lake you throwing it in, bro. He said instead of revamp, they need library cards. Facts. OHF, you can come on, bro. If you got time. I don't know if you got time or not. Y'all family just like Holly Berry, my auntie. Hey, stop listening to this fool. This fool. I'm Igbo and our colors range. Yep. Hey, do you believe Africans sailed to? No. No, they did not. They didn't have the technology. So let me tell y'all a story about an HBCU in Texas. I won't name the institution. I won't name it. But the institution has an article associated with it. This HBCU, historically black college, in the article, it talk about Africans sailing to the Americas, the whole Abukari II story, and much more. I was heartbroken. It was, I want to tell y'all what this is so bad. I was heartbroken. I wanted to comment on this article and be like, man, y'all need to take this shit down. It's a part of this HBCUs. This article was a part of the African American or the African presence in the Americas, and it's pseudo. All the way pseudo. Like, there's no justification for the pseudo in this article. I ain't saying which HBCU it is. I am not going to allow anyone to know. Morehouse is not in Texas. Fisk is not in Texas. This HBCU is in Texas. And I'm not going to tell y'all which HBCU it is. Khalil. Abos are saying black people created the Confederate flag and the Civil War was taxes. Where they get that from? TCU is not a historically black college or university. What y'all talking about? I missed everything. I'm talking you and Juju. I'm not telling y'all. I'm not naming the institution. It hurt me. I was like, what? Mm-mm. Who allowed this? Who approved the article? As a scientist, it's your duty to reveal the latest findings. Y'all get the point? Disheartening. Worst shit I ever seen. And I just read it. And it was the same bull chunk. And we fall for it every time. Misrepresentation of sources, the lack of intelligence to cross-reference this shit. This boy Khalil said you bound by your craft. I feel bad though, because Prairie View is pushing that shit. And they're pushing it on kids that go to that institution and don't have no clue that that's a fucked up story. Nobody's correcting it. It's crazy. It's Prairie View, bro. Chavis said it in the chat already. He said it like 20 times. Listen, Africans did not possess the technology to travel across the ocean in the 14th and 15th century. The technology didn't exist until the mid to late 15th century, and it was developed by Europeans who were trying to do some type of reverse wind trick with the sails that would allow them to be able to turn around and go further out into the Atlantic, because usually they would lose ships, people would die, they would wander into certain places, or the cross circle currents off the coast of West Africa would just spin the ships, and they would struggle to get the ships back en route. I don't know if you're being funny or serious, but let's just say you're being serious. If you're being serious, I would suggest that you read volume 3? The green volume, Spiritual Combat. There's a whole article on volume 3 that deals with the Mansa Musa story. It's written by me, and it's sourced up real good. It's a lot of goddamn sources. And I deal specifically with the claim and the story of Mansa Musa. And I hypothesized, and I'll say this because many people don't understand that after all my research and reading that I actually did on the subject matter, people don't understand that when I hypothesized about the Mansa Musa story, potentially piquing the interest of Europeans to come into West Africa, if you go back and you pay attention to how that shit go down, that's where they gain their interest. They gained their interest in West Africa after the Mansa Musa story broke. When that story broke and the rumor began to spread and they talked about how he splurged in Egypt, there was interest. So I wrote an article hypothesizing about his influence on West Africa. He's the reason why we would fall under slavery to a degree, outside the fact of all the other elements that came together and caused us to be enslaved and set. They are old Maxwell helmets. There's a whole show, bro, where we talk about that. Shah's correct. They are old Mac heads with helmets. And they were built out of thrones. No, I'm supporting Shah. Let me take it back. Share my screen. All right, so we back here. Let me hit up this. Let me live shows. The old man colossal heads. So here you go right here. Whole show on the shit. The old Meg argument of the ancestors, Dr. Vince Rashidi, the Black Myth. In this, right, I give you the heads. That's a helmet. That's a helmet. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep going. It's a helmet. You know what I'm saying? It's a helmet. It's a helmet. It's a helmet. What more can I say? By the way, to deal with the Olmec heads, right? Source. There you go. 4 beautiful sources to deal with the Olmec heads, and I'll put the show in the chat. Don't listen to A1 about shit. He makes up stuff. He said Magneto was an Olmec. I don't think he's serious though, bro. Muslims would have never carved graven images of themselves. It's considered shirk. So there you go right there. There's a whole show Avoid what on purpose? What are you talking about? I gave you the video, bro. Oh, the old Mac with the old Mac head with the fez. Nah, I ain't doing that shit. Ain't nah, bro. No. Go in the description of the video link that I just put in the chat, and you can look at all the old Mac heads you want. Real quick, do Google, bro. I am not trying to look at no old Mac head with fez, bro. I don't even care about that life. I ain't trying to do this at all. Do. This is what you want to see right here. That's what you want to see. Do. Nah, I know you ain't say it was a more. I'm being funny. What up, Morpheus? Away from the Morpheus said Aboriginal. Away from the original. Yo, Morpheus. Hey, what you been in the studio working on, Morpheus? What you producing? Who the next big hottest rapper? Well, the Fez thing is shot. The Fez thing, it isn't. It isn't a more thing because in West Africa, there were prominent people that wore fezzes. Not like they were different in color and stuff like that, but they had the same structure, and it has no relevance to that. It spoke of the prominence of a particular people or persons in the communities or among the tribe. But so it's kind of kind of is what it is. Yep. Yeah, but just don't listen to A1. They gonna boot Ja Morant out the league. They're gonna suspend him indefinitely. When the finals is over, Ja Morant getting the penalty. He gonna be the first person in the new era of the NBA to get the death penalty. Damn near. He sure is the go to pseudo. He the go to pseudo for sure. And we mean that. Nah, he ain't getting traded. They ain't gonna trade him, bro. They gonna take a suspension. They gonna take a suspension, tank the season, and hope they get a lottery pick so they can draft somebody to go with him. What that boy Sue Tech started. Morpheus is still breaking down the whole Aboriginal thing. Look, man, I just want to let y'all know that when basketball season is over, this is gonna be the longest off season for football and basketball. It's gonna be a long summer. If this is a sweep, it's gonna be a really, really long summer. So y'all better go watch some baseball. Y'all better get ready. We ain't finna have we gonna be on. You gonna be arguing for real. Let me see something. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Trying to see something. Time, Elijah. I'm trying to see and verify something. Oh yeah. We do got the WNBA, and it's an interesting season in the WNBA. I would highly recommend that all men support the WNBA. Get them some views. Get them something to look at. Like if we raise the ratings of the WNBA, then the women can get paid a little bit more. And if you got daughters that fall in love with basketball and want to play, then it makes it financially feasible for them, because there's no way that a kid in college should be making and not getting paid more money off NIL contracts than in the WNBA, because in the NBA that shit doesn't happen. In the NFL, that shit doesn't happen. College football players aren't making more than NFL players or NBA players and baseball players, right? All the major sports. The only sport where women can make more money than the pro women, right, is happening right in our face. So if we do support WNBA and we raise their views and they're getting like 50, 100,000, 200 to 300,000, almost 1 million more views per game, then that brings them more revenue, more money, and then they can pay those girls more money, and then we'll have a better WNBA game as well. So yeah, absolutely correct. Now, EIE, you're correct as well. The minority is the straight women are the minority in the WNBA, but you know it is what it is. You feel me? So I'm looking at just trying to get that game the views so that we can get them paid. And what happens is if you got a little girl that want to hoop, she can get paid. She can have her dream of going to the WNBA and hooping and making a profession out of it. What I missed? The only one that be dunking is the one that got locked in Russia. Well, there's multiple people that can actually dunk now, Sute. But the Las Vegas team, I think it's the Las Vegas team. Yeah, they got the last year's MVP on there with Candace Parker and then Sue Bird. Not Sue Bird, but Alicia. Alicia trains in Nashville with Marcus Kenzie. And I've been watching her for a while. She used to do her individual workouts with Marcus at Cane Ridge in the small gym, private sessions. And she can hoop. She's a really good defender. She can shoot the three. She got dribble drive. She ain't jumped the fence. She good for basketball. Man, I'm not watching that. Score be like 62-51 at the end of the game. Correct. It do, because they be playing real defense. But right now, Las Vegas is averaging 90-something points a game. Bro, these first 4 games of the season, they hit over 90 points. They're averaging 90-plus points. They're the first team in WNBA basketball history to average 90 points a game in their first 4 outings. I think it's 5 now. So the women's game is scoring more points, Sutek. The Aces, yeah. They're in Las Vegas, I thought. What happened to teams like the Houston Comets? I don't know. You tell me. You the one in Houston. Mm-hmm. Someone be fine and can hoop, yo. You capping for the ladies, but I get it. No. There's no cap. The Aces are averaging 90 points a game. Let me educate you, my brother. Let me share my screen. This was Sutek out here. You know what I'm saying? See, you trying to play, bro, but I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. Look, the 2022 WNBA champions, the Las Vegas Aces, are 4-0. Look to keep their season opening winning streak going this Friday, June 2nd, when they take on the Atlanta Dream, who is 2-2. The game is the first in 4-game road trip for Las Vegas and is being broadcast nationally on ION. The Aces own an 18-17 regular season over Atlanta, 8-2 over the past 10. Las Vegas recently became the first club to open the season by scoring at least 90 points in its first 4 games and is leading the league in scoring with 96.5 points per game, 40 rebounds a game, 7 blocks a game, 9 steals per game, and a 0.493 field goal percentage, 44 threes made. 83%. Listen, all of this shit is records. They're the best NBA. They're the best team. They got Candace Parker, bro, and Jackie. It's easy. And Alicia. It's easy. So, like I said, they're averaging that. And look, they won a game 97-90 over the Dream a while ago. So the ladies can score points, man. You talking about the low scoring games? Yeah, they do be having it. They do be having some games like that, bro. But at the end of the day, they doing it. Look, 94-73. They kicked Minnesota butt. 93-65. Come on, man. Quit thinking these women can't hoop, bro. Some quick look. That's light work right there. The Aces, Las Vegas, bro. They the team. They putting a show on. Hold up. So let's go back to this right here. He didn't know. I live in Texas and I ain't know who the first slave in Texas was. Not even gonna lie. You way behind. You must be watching the rewind on the TV and commenting shit on your cell phone. You way behind, bro. Well, at least you were honest. Some people act like they already knew it. And you know, they ain't no integrity. Zane want to see dunks. All right, man. So look, I appreciate everybody tapping in, man. I'm gonna end this joker early. Top Catz. Don't look for me, bro. You don't want these problems. Not even in your real life. So you might as well stick to what you've been doing over there. And when Shaq come over there, don't even say my name. And if you were over there trying to act like you really did something, bro, if your people watch the video, they're going to see that you really didn't do anything. You just was asking some questions that you got answers to, and the only time you didn't get answers because you didn't understand that no matter what tribe I say, you're going to have another issue behind that. I'm not stupid. So if you did go over there and try to pound your chest, I don't give a fuck. You don't want these problems. Ever.